Okay, so you know how you sent us that article about why startup founders kind of
Yeah.
freak out about the whole positioning thing?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Right. Well, this one's for you then. We're going to break down exactly what positioning means for a business, like really get into it. And most importantly, we'll pull out some things you can actually use, like actionable stuff.
For sure.
So by the time we're done, you'll understand why you absolutely can't skip positioning, how to tell if you've already got a problem, and what to actually do about it. Sound good?
Sounds great. And, this goes way beyond just marketing jargon.
Right.
It's really about how your potential customers see you, like how they make sense of you in a crowded market.
Right, exactly.
And what really stood out to me in that article was, well, how it tackles this, like internal resistance a lot of founders have to the idea of positioning, even though it seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, for sure. And the author actually lays out some of those common founder mindsets. They almost sound like mantras or something. If I niche down too much, I'll miss out on customers, or my product's so versatile, why should I limit who I can sell to? And of course, there's the classic.
We'll worry about positioning later.
Exactly. It's like clockwork. But honestly, I get it. It makes sense why someone would think like that. I mean, at least on the surface.
Oh, totally. It comes from that core entrepreneurial drive, that desire to grab every opportunity and, I don't know, avoid making tough decisions too early. Founders usually have this huge vision for what their product could be. But, as the article points out, clinging to that broad appeal for too long, well, that can create some serious problems.
Oh, sure.
I mean, think about it. If you're trying to talk to everyone, you end up talking to no one. Your marketing becomes so diluted, it's basically invisible.
Right.
And then your sales team struggles to actually explain the benefits to anyone, and ultimately your pipeline dries up.
Yeah, it's like you throw out this big, wide net hoping to catch everything, but the net's got holes in it.
Exactly.
Okay, so the article then gets into 3 big warning signs, like screaming at you red flags that you've got a positioning problem. The first one that I thought was really interesting was when potential customers just don't get it.
Yeah.
What does that actually look like, though?
Well, I'll tell you. You've got a problem when, almost every sales call is spent explaining what your product even does.
Oh, yeah.
You keep hearing that question. So what is it that you actually do?
It's almost like they tuned out your whole pitch.
It is. And that's a sign that your core message, it's just not landing. The article suggests a really simple solution for this, the 5-word clarity test.
I like the sound of that already.
So can you sum up your product and its main benefit in just one punchy sentence that anyone, even someone hearing about it for the first time, can understand?
Okay, that's good.
Right? It forces you to really boil it down to the absolute essence. If you can't do it, your customers sure won't be able to either.
I like that. It's like a stress test for your messaging.
Exactly.
And it really ties into that idea of shifting from, feature first to outcome first. That feels so crucial. Instead of listing off every little thing your product does, you focus on what the buyer will actually be able to achieve.
Right. People don't buy features, they buy results. They want to know, how's this going to make my life better?
Exactly. Is it going to save me time, money? Am I finally going to reach that goal I've been chasing forever?
You got it. It's all about what's in it for them.
Yeah.
And, the author emphasizes the importance of testing your positioning, not on your mom or your best friend, but with cold leads, people who've never heard of you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if even warm referrals, people who have some kind of connection to you, if they don't get it.
A total stranger's got no chance.
Right.
Okay, sign number 2. You're stuck competing on price. Ugh. It happens.
Oh, tell me about it.
And often the first thing you think is oh no, we're just way too expensive.
Yeah.
But this piece has a different take.
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually. It says that price sensitivity usually isn't about the actual dollar amount.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's more about, well, are you ready for this? Unclear value.
Okay.
If your customers don't really understand what makes you unique or what benefit you offer, they're just going to go for the cheapest option.
Makes sense.
Right. So the author suggests a couple of really clever ways to fix this. The first is to reposition your competitors as, and here's the key word, outdated.
Interesting.
But it's not about trashing your competitors. It's more about showing how sticking with the old way of doing things,
Yeah.
well, it's actually costing them something.
Right.
Wasted time, extra effort, lost revenue, stuff like that. You're basically drawing a line and saying, look, we're on the other side of that line. We're the future.
I like that.
Right.
You're framing it around what they stand to lose if they just, like, stay put.
Right.
And this next idea, I really like this, creating agency by showing them the before and after.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's not just about what your product is, but what it helps them become.
Yeah, the transformation.
Exactly. And then there's the idea of, get this, using premium pricing as a signal.
Oh, that's a good one.
Now, that feels a little counterintuitive, but it makes sense when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because by positioning yourself as, the top dog and having prices to match, you actually attract a certain type of customer, the kind who really value quality and innovation.
Totally. It's a way of signaling that you are the leader. Think about those like
Yeah.
luxury brands, right?
Yeah.
Those high prices, they're not just about how much it costs to make the product.
Right.
They're about communicating exclusivity,
Right.
a certain level of, I don't know, quality or even status. And, in the world of SaaS.
Boss, that's software as a service, in case anyone's not familiar.
Right, exactly. So in that world, premium pricing can also show that you offer the absolute best solution.
Okay, on to warning sign number 3. Your marketing just feels like it's not working.
Ugh, the worst feeling.
I know, right? You're putting in all this time, all these resources, but it's like nothing. And this piece points the finger at using messaging that's like too broad, too generic, or even too focused on the features.
Yeah, this is where your positioning really, really matters. If it's not crystal clear, your marketing is like almost guaranteed to underperform. Your ads won't connect, your SEO will tank because you're not using the right keywords.
Right.
And outbound, forget about it. You're basically just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks.
So what's the solution?
The key takeaway here is to use customer language, not your like internal jargon. It's so easy to get stuck in how you and your team talk about the product, but that's often not how your customers think about it or how they talk about their problems. You have to really understand their pain points.
And use their words.
Exactly. So how do you figure out that customer language? Well, you got to go straight to the source. Talk to your best customers, the ones who are really getting huge value from what you offer.
Right.
And like really pay attention to how they explain their challenges and how your product helps them. Look through your customer support logs. Read transcripts from sales calls. Search for those patterns in what they're saying.
Oh, that's smart.
And another great tip, the author says to write like you talk.
I like that.
It just sounds more genuine, less like some stuffy corporate robot wrote it.
Okay, and finally, there's the idea of nailing your category narrative. That one really speaks to me. It's about like going beyond just being another SaaS tool. It's about creating a movement.
It is.
Well, what does that actually mean, though?
It means you really clearly define the problem you're solving. And I mean, like really nail it. And that you position yourself not just as a company with a solution, but as like the champion of a whole new way of thinking or operating. You're not just selling software. You're advocating for like a better way of doing things.
Yeah.
And your product is how people get there.
Oh, I love that. So it's about creating a deeper connection than with the customer because they see themselves in this bigger story.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've looked at the warning signs, we've got some solutions, but the author also digs into why some founders just flat out resist fixing their positioning, even when it's clear something's not working. And it seems to come down to, well, discomfort.
Yeah, I mean, positioning makes you make some choices, right? Like tough choices.
Sure.
You have to pick a battle, as the author puts it. You got to decide which problem you're going to solve and solve better than anyone else.
But does that mean...
That means saying no to other potential problems or even to certain customers.
Right.
Which feels limiting.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing for founders is to commit to an identity. They usually have like this big vision, and narrowing their focus can feel like they're shutting down all these other possibilities.
Like they're trapping themselves.
It's like that classic fear of missing out, But if you look at it realistically, and the piece does a great job of laying out those cold, hard truths, if you don't define your place in the market will define it for you.
Oh, for sure.
And it might not be pretty. If you try to appeal to everyone, you'll probably end up appealing to no one.
Right.
And without a strong position, you're going to get dragged into those price wars. And those are brutal.
Yeah. No one wins those.
Exactly. And what the author is really trying to say is Positioning isn't about like limiting your growth. It's about focusing your energy so you can really own that space and scale up from there. It's about becoming like the absolute expert at solving that one problem for that one specific customer.
So you're actually setting yourself up for growth.
Exactly.
Okay, and then the article ends by talking about this positioning sprint, which I thought was really interesting. It's
Yeah.
like a workshop specifically for SaaS founders who are having a tough time explaining what their product does, and it's killing their sales.
It's a really great way to get people thinking about all this in a very practical, hands-on way.
For sure. So to wrap things up for you all, the main takeaway here is positioning is not optional. It's like step one for building a successful business. It's totally understandable why some founders hesitate to do it, but not doing it, well, that leads to a whole mess of problems. Unclear messaging, constant price pressure, marketing that just fizzles out. It's a recipe for disaster.
I think you could say that again.
But there's good news. There are very concrete things you can do to figure out where you stand and fix any problems. You can use that 5-word clarity test, really try to understand how your ideal customers think and talk, and then you can start to build that compelling category narrative.
Yeah, and in the end, having a clear position isn't limiting, it's freeing.
I like that.
Right. It makes it super easy for your perfect customer to understand your value. And that means your marketing will work better, your sales process will be smoother, and your growth will be stronger and more sustainable.
So, to leave you with one last thing to chew on, think about your own business. What battle are you best equipped to win? And if your ideal customer landed on your website or you bumped into them in an elevator, would they get it? Like right away, no explanation needed.
That's the question, isn't it?
Think about it. Use what we talked about today. That's the first step to really taking control of your positioning and unlocking your company's true potential.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.